just sort of like in the little space by himself, and there's like
No.
just his students. So good. I'm glad to know that like
Oh yeah,
there's a cohort around him there.
there's a few of us. Yeah,
Good.
it is sort of Pat's little corner, but we end up visiting pretty regularly.
Good.
So yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
And how did you come across Pat?
So both Elizabeth and I work with him on the advisory board for IXA.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, been working. I've gotten a chance to work with him a little bit more specifically on Build Fest. So I'm at University of Maryland. We did the Build Fest back in March before Pat did his there just
very
a
cool.
week or two ago in April. So it's been good to collaborate kind of in figuring out all of the logistics and other opportunities and challenges with putting that up on its feet, which has been very cool.
Oh yeah. I know Pat was very excited about it. He came and presented in I teach the gateway class for our department, so I got the 150, 160 students, and I was like, yeah, extra credit. Let's like participate. So hopefully
Yeah.
you folks.
Yeah, it sounded like it went really, really well.
Yeah.
So, a nice setup. I'm curious, I feel like every immersive media design program is got a different way into and out of
Mhm.
immersive media. So, since you teach the gateway course and that, like,
Sure.
what does that look like? What's like at a high level? How are you all approaching that for students who are like, immersive? That sounds interesting. What's that?
Yeah, so it's the course I'm teaching is a little broader, so it's not just
Yeah.
expressly immersive media, but
Hmm.
a lot of it is going through like I teach a video game theory course. And that's mostly where
Oh,
I'm
cool.
bringing people in and getting into immersive design from that perspective. And I've
Hmm.
developed on Quest, and a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that I'm doing is more about like I wrote an article last year that was about amusement at theme park and sort of like the transition of immersive media from the early 1900s on. So it's a lot of what I'm
Oh,
teaching
wow.
students to get them there is sort of like, well, what is actually immersion and what has it meant historically? And then how are we applying that now? And the fact that, I mean, Pat and I both, our backgrounds are sort of similar where we sort of started as film people. And so
Hmm.
I end up using immersive technologies in a way that's I'm very much in filmmaker mode. And I tell my students
Yeah.
that they're going to come up with things that are way more interesting than I will ever come up with because I'm so invested in that way of thinking that
Yep.
I'm very blinded to a lot of other potentialities.
That's yeah. I feel similarly. I come from a live performance background, and so I similarly feel like the students coming from other places are going to find a whole other way of using it and structuring the way that their workflow takes place. I also run a summer program at University of Maryland, and we do 2 weeks of workshops for students when it starts because we have a range of students. Some students who have been going through the immersive media design program and are really knowledgeable about this stuff, both on the conceptual and the execution side. And then we have other students from other parts of campus who are just, again, kind of curious. So it's almost like we take a one-on-one course and shove it into 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And every year we kind of revisit and go, all right, well, what should we be offering them for workshops this year? And one of the main things we're really trying to focus on an ad is this radically changing space of how AI is affecting the whole pipeline from ideation through design and development and prototyping, and trying to get our own arms around it so that
Yeah.
we can introduce that to students inside of that space so that they can be, prototyping quicker and ideally getting over some of the hurdles that previous generations have run into with just getting up and running and things like Unity and other really heavy softwares.
Yeah, I tell my students that when we invented fire, we didn't immediately think of the internal combustion engine. So like we've got fire now. What is it that it's actually going to be? And AI is part of that. And all
Yeah.
I mean I don't know about it, your institutions, but like we're embroiled in this whole conversation around AI and what it means and how we apply it. And definitely there is a lot of resistance and surprisingly a lot of resistance from students. I don't know if you're seeing that too, but uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as well. And it's something I haven't had the opportunity to engage with students a lot, kind of one-on-one to get more granular about what it is that they dislike or are uncomfortable about or in each individual case. And so, we're trying to kind of build that in as well, that there's a conversation around this conversation about not just, how to use these tools and when, but why and why not, and yeah, how to think about them. Yeah, it is really interesting that way. I keep hearing surveys coming out about how much Gen Z in particular really dislikes AI as a generation. In particular, young people seem to just like be finding that they're engaging with it a lot and they really don't like it.
I think it's also a threat in a way to like what they've been told their whole life, the way this was all going to work. Now suddenly it gets destabilized. Sorry. Hey, Brooke.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat.
Hi, Brooke.
Hey,
Welcome.
my
Yeah.
worlds are colliding here. I'm like, am I
Hello.
in an IXA thing? Am I at a faculty meeting? What's happening? But I'm glad you're both here. I also got a message from Terry, so maybe she'll be joining. I'm not sure, but either way, it's great.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, Pat, you are clearly the person who has done the most advocating for coming to volunteer or learn more about IXA and participate. So, uh,
It
thank
might be
you.
the cash prizes that I promised. I don't know.
Is that all we have to do?
The
Just
giveaways at the end.
yeah, it wasn't even crypto, it was just regular cash prizes.
How about cookies?
Oh, okay, cookies.
Hey,
Yeah.
man,
Well,
cookies is easy.
exactly. Like, if you give you any website, I'll give you some cookies, man. Um, yes. Well, thank you. This is challenging, inspiring me to see how many of my immersive media design faculty and staff I can get at the next roundup. So yes, Pat, thanks for raising the bar. Brooke, we've been doing a little bit of chatting introductions. I'd love to just hear a little about where you're coming from, and then we'll do some quick introductions to myself and Elizabeth, and since I think you're familiar with the other two in here.
Sure. Yes, I know Pat and Andy. I have, I guess, just completed my PhD here in at MAP, and yeah, I feel interested in this organization. Yeah, was intrigued by the email. I have been the managing editor for a journal called Transformations, which is kind of also in this emergent tech sphere. It's a peer-reviewed journal. Yeah, and I also have lots of interest in AI. I would say like my master's mostly focused on ambisonic audio, so slightly more like immersive audio.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've also been involved at various points in the immersive media lab with Pat. So yeah, I'm intrigued.
Very,
Fantastic.
very cool.
So now that let's just go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves as they go. So I'm just going to call on you all as you show up. So Terry, do you mind introducing yourself?
Thanks. Sorry I'm late. Huh, I'm here though. Yay. This is so exciting. Thank you for convening this group and organizing, Pat and all. Um, I'm a faculty member in the Critical Media Practices Department. I've been a professor here since 2018. And as an artist, I work in what has had all kinds of different names over 30 years. Early on, it was called augmented reality. And then it went through all of these different versions of locative media, et cetera. And now it's sort of back to augmented reality or immersive media. So I work with GPS activating media events in response to one's movement in the landscape. And that's primarily sound work for me. And I am also kind of more recently experimenting, collaborating with standing wave fields and other kinds of phenomena in more interior settings with a colleague of mine who's an electrical engineer who specializes in acoustics and such. So yeah, that's me. Thanks.
Fascinating. And
Yeah.
so like audio people, that's not usually the dominating like
But it should be.
force. Yeah,
Bring on the
definitely.
audio. Seriously.
We have a really
Cool.
good community here at CU in sound. Yeah, we're very fortunate.
Cool. Karen, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm really excited to learn more about the IXA and what's going on here. So I'm Karen Alexander. I have now been in the XR space for 10 years this year. It's kind of hard to believe. My academic background is in literature. I have a PhD in English, and I worked in academic journal publishing. I worked in administration. I worked at Rutgers University for a long time, and then I kind of dove headfirst into XR. And I've done a wide range of things, from producing 360 videos and teaching children and youth how to create with XR tools, to advising companies and higher education institutions on how to strategically implement XR. I just did a project with the University of Pittsburgh. And I've also worked with XR startups in a variety of capacities, from doing project management and working with enterprise clients on training projects, translating 2D training materials into 3D, and things like compliance for startups and building business processes and policies. And yeah, so quite a range of things. I'm also the co-founder of the Academy of Immersive Arts and Sciences, which is a pretty new nonprofit, and I am a co-founder of XR Women as well.
That's awesome. I knew I recognized your name quite. I've seen it everywhere, honestly. So that's great. Well, so far everybody who is you know new here has introduced themselves. So I guess Jonathan and Pat, y'all want to introduce yourselves, and then I'll do
Sure.
myself, and then we'll just kind of keep this conversation going.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, my name's Pat. I teach at CU Boulder along with Brooke, Andy, and Terry. And I'm concentrated mostly in immersive media, but I come from a filmmaking background. And I think my keyword for describing me is curious. So I like to. I'm definitely not an expert in all areas, but I'm always interested in what people are doing and what's going on, in our community, but also wider, which is what I've really enjoyed about this group. So I'm just excited to see some new faces here, and I know we have some folks that couldn't come because of finals and other things, but I think this will be a great way to introduce some new people. So I'm excited to see some new faces.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank
I'll
you.
jump in. I'm Jonathan Martin, and I'm on faculty in the Immersive Media program at University of Maryland. And there I do a range of research projects and special events and anything that kind of needs somebody with a producing background. And so I run a summer program there that kind of brings students from across campus together to build new works of immersive media across physical computing, XR things, interactive projection design, kind of a whole range of stuff. The program at University of Maryland is housed between both the Department of Computer Science and Department of Art. So we've got this really interesting mix, both of students and also of infrastructure, to kind of allow students to explore a really interesting mix of things that touch on immersive in all sorts of different ways. Research wise, I do a lot of collaborations with folks in the sciences and who are working in emerging tech to translate their research for audiences through live performance. Since I've got a theater and live performance background and been doing interactive installations and immersive performance and puppetry and all sorts of forms of theater for the last 20 years, basically. So there's a project right now that we're working on that's a dance AI and robotics piece that's touring around. And I'm working with some quantum researchers to take their quantum computing research and translate that into some interesting live performance works that teach people about quantum computing. So that's kind of some of the fun stuff I get to do there. And then outside of University of Maryland, I'm a creative producer working with emerging media and technology. And for IXA, I'm on the advisory board along with Elizabeth and Pat. And I wear the membership hat, and so I figure out how to engage our community as members and why be a member, and put together events and activations for members, like Social Impact Build Fest, which was essentially like a hackathon for students who are not hackers. That we took and did at several different IXA campuses, including CU Boulder and University of Maryland and Texas this past year. So that's a little bit about where I'm coming from.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. And yeah, so I'm still going to keep going and having you all introduce yourselves, because this is really meant to be a conversation and all of us kind of figuring out where, um, what IXAlliance can do for its membership, for its members rather, and what things are people curious about, what things people want to learn, what things do people want to talk about, what things do people want to see happen in these monthly meetups. But right now, today is that conversation. So I'm going to keep going down to Nezreen and Jiwen and then Jason.
Hello, everyone. Um, Hi, I think I know some of you. My name is Nesreen Mansour, and I'm an assistant professor in architecture. I teach at CU Boulder and in environmental design, but I teach architecture courses. My work focuses on the intersection of architecture, spirituality, digital media, and AI. And I'm very interested in the experience of sacred architecture in immersive environments and how people like the kind of emotions that triggers when people are immersed into these environments, and like especially with the light, like say I call it the light of cyberspace, or the divine virtual light. And I'm collaborating with Pat. So my Pat is my friend. I was the mentor at the Build Fest, the Social Impact Build Fest, which was an amazing experience. And I'm so interested in doing even more with augmented reality. And also I try to use the immersive media lab at CU Boulder as much as I can. And I'm hoping I'm working on a documentary that I will submit to the Dome Fest next year on AI data centers. So yeah, I don't know if that's enough said about me. I'm so excited when Pat sent me the invitation to attend today, because I really love learning a lot about immersive experiences and immersive media. And from an architecture background, I think like the spatial integration, like the space and the media together go really well hand in hand. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nazreen. I mean, this is people are so fascinating. This is a really interesting group of people. My mind is kind of blown already. But Pat completely wins for getting his colleagues to show up. Y'all need to buy him cookies. I need to buy him cookies. Amazing.
Maybe not cookies. Something that won't affect my waistline. Maybe like a movie ticket or something.
GLP-1.
Yeah, cookies are dangerous.
Cookies have no
That was a joke. Jiwen, are you ready to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm sorry I couldn't be on camera, but I guess I'll talk to you via the voice. So I'm Shiwon, and I'm actually based in London. I realized that these alliance, I think, mostly based in North America, but I went to school undergrad in LA, so I'm very familiar with the US and worked in New York as well. I was in the film industry, film acquisition distribution for a few years, and then I went back home to Beijing and Shenzhen for working for a creative agency. And I work as a creative strategist and planner for like brand related activations, pop-ups, conferences, and live events. So there I had a lot of experience, crafting experience. But why I'm here is because I finished my MBA at Oxford last year, and I got really interested in like creative technologies and different waves of storytellings beyond 2D screen, and moving to more of immersive environment, whether it's XR or a different forms of storytelling or entertainment. So I'm really interested in learning this and also combining my training in business to help producers or like creators of this really bold ideas and projects to make bigger impact and be more sustainable, I guess. So this is where what I'm learning and trying to head towards in the future. Thank you.
Fascinating. Every one of you all is just totally fascinating. So Jason.
Hello. Sorry, I'm running a little late. I'm multitasking today, but it's great to see you all. Some familiar faces, some new faces. I will try and like tighten this down because I'm in a lot of different places, but basically came out of video production and then have a production company, but slid into streaming, slid into XR, and now I just graduated with my master's from first inaugural cohort of the Immersive Media Communication program at UO Portland. And that was just finished that this last summer, and now I'm applying for PhDs. And I'm looking UO, and I'm going to try Stanford and Davis as well. But trying to stay on the West Coast. But so basically, I was the lab tech there. Um, Shameless plug, we have Meaningful XR coming up in the end of May. If you're going to be there, please look me up. I think I'm on like five different a paper and a presentation and a demo. It's our home campus and our home labs, so I'm going to be all over the place. But if you want to meet up, one of the hotels that's close by there is McMenamins, which is a was a school turned venue, space, hotel. Anyway, for my capstone project, I did an AR experience there, kind of a history mashup, ghost hunter kind of experience over there. It's currently in a bit of disarray, but I'm hoping to have it ready by meaningful. So if you're there, hopefully we could play around that. I would love to meet up, schedule any meetups. Also, Nesreen, if you I don't know if you're familiar with the folks at Hungry Mantis. They do 360 and they do a lot of the Dome Festival circuit. But also we have OMSI here in Oakland, up here in Portland, and it's the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, and they do dome presentations at the in their planetarium. And I know the events person there. So and then we also have the Panorama Festival that just happened this last weekend. So if any of that's interesting and you want intros and anything, I'd love to connect dots and be a networker. So anyway, that's the kind of the main thing that I'm working on right now is kind of in that AR space. My research is really around uh, place attachment and sense of place theory and the idea of AR enhancing our connection to a place, specifically location-based AR rather than sort of a generic AR, and that's what the McMenamins piece was. So long-winded, I apologize, but like I said, all over the board. So really loving this group and would love to connect and partner wherever appropriate.
Wow, fantastic. Great. I'm Elizabeth Strickler, and I'm the head of programming for the IXAlliance, which is these monthly meetups. And that's one of the things, and just a little bit about my background, and then I'll jump into it. I helped found the Creative Media Industries Institute at Georgia State University. We teach augmented and virtual reality, but through really weird uh, degrees because it's really hard to define what an immersive degree is. So we have game design, we have game development, we have media entrepreneurship. And probably Jiwen would be most aligned with the kind of work that I do, which is looking for new immersive experiences and new businesses within these spaces. I started the media entrepreneurship program, um, but we do a lot of things like. So we also have an MFA in virtual production, which really is, using LED walls and game engines and all of that for special effects, but also for, unique experiences. And like everybody here, AI is changing the way we're doing everything. And each one of us is doing our own independent research and trying to figure out how to share that work and how to learn from each other and find out what best practices are, because some of you all are talking about, meaningful XR and, what should be done. And then others of you are talking about new business models. And then others of you are talking about location, specificity and based work. And so it's a lot. And there's a lot out there. And so we're trying to bring this group together to try to understand what can we do to really uh, make membership worth people's while, make coming here worth your while, and sort of and satisfy like a lot of these different things. Like dome work is totally different than audio work that's different than, and just trying to figure this out. So you know, I think the first thing that we wanted to do was just see, what are things that people have seen that are working. And we could, here's my question to everybody, because there's 10 of us. We can break into groups or we can stay as a group of 10. I don't know what the best thing to do is. I'm open to suggestions here. But stay. Yeah. Okay. Great. I think the first question that I'd like to ask is what are things that you're missing that you would like to see from a group of, I mean, look at the level of quality and experience that's here. So what are things that you're missing that you aren't getting from podcasts or you aren't getting from your other places?
Well, I will say, selfishly, the one thing, one short leg of my table is industry connection for students who are graduating and going out into the world. And so, certainly this group and also, just attending conferences and things like that is one way to make those connections. But it's just way easier, when we can come on a platform like this and someone can say this, much like Jason did. He just named like three things going on in Portland that I only knew about one of them. And so that just helps me. It's not that I probably wouldn't have found that ever, but I just was able to find it so much faster. And if I needed to, I could ping Jason and say, "Hey, is this place legit? Like, have you worked with this guy? What kind of things do they need?" And it's just that thing is really helpful for me. The opportunities for students outside of Boulder, which is something that, it's uh, we're a great town, but we're not a hub for, large scale production that employs students. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for.
Great. And I
Hey,
see that
Pat,
Jason, yeah, go ahead.
my apologies. I just wanted to jump in real quick. I'm sorry I missed your intro. Did you say you're in Boulder, Pat?
Yes, I'm in Boulder.
Cool.
And we'll be
Have
coming to
you,
Portland.
what's that?
And I'll be coming to Portland at the end of May. So we'll see you there.
Nice. Okay, we should have a face to face. Have you interacted at all with the Denver Immersive um group?
Do you know which is it Immerse? Is that the one?
That Immerse might be part of it too. Denver Immersive Institute is kind of like they get into some like real people stuff like Meow Wolf type stuff, and then all the way over because I started in that area of immersive and have segued sort of back and forth between real blended hybrid and straight virtual. But they're a real dynamic group. And another one related to that that's kind of the global overhang is No Proscenium and the No Pro podcast. And as part of that, they have an XR wing. But the Denver folks are super active, have conferences, and similar to this group, depending on what you're into, you can find a niche component of that. And I know Boulder's a ways from Denver, but they do stuff throughout Colorado. So just want to
Yeah,
put that
I'm
out
not as I know that I have not I'm not as familiar with Denver or immersive Denver, but I know a lot of folks in this group associate with No Proscenium. I think do they even host our Discord channel? Is that right or something? No Proscenium? I don't know.
That's
But
where I
yeah.
met Aaron,
Oh,
They
Riley.
they
okay.
do.
Okay.
Under the No Proscenium Academia
Mhm.
is where IXAlliance
Okay.
resides. I will put the link in here. It should be on our website as well, which I did just put up there, and I'm going to put the review website up there, which I'm not sure why it's not linked to our main IXA website, but we're
But also that's
definitely
great.
yeah.
Beta test, we're usability testing our website, now that we're getting some people going there. So this is all good. We're appreciative. When links don't work, that's it's bad for you, but it's good for us because we get to figure out why that's the case.
Was this anyway? We'll get back to that later. I wanted to underline Jun's request for support accessible conference tickets for students or newcomers. Could you say a little bit more about like what that would look like in like some examples or particular for you? Because I think that's a great thing potentially for us to focus on, since one of the things about IXA that I find that makes us a little bit different is we definitely have a solid foot in academia, but we definitely have connections and a foot on the industry side as well. And so things that kind of cross in between there are great for us to think about to be able to do.
I I'm coming from like recent graduate perspective, although I've worked for a while, but um I'm kind of entering a new industry.
Yeah.
Well, I've worked in film and the general creative industry, but it's still very much a different circle I found. And for example, in London, the conference tickets can range from like £200 to £600 for a day pass, which is like pretty non-accessible for me. Um, personally. So, but like it would be a great opportunity to build industry connections and just to learn in general. But because of the price, I'm not able to attend, which is a shame, I would say. And also maybe like just build volunteer opportunity at the events or bring them in
Mhm.
for um like programming and those kind of things because I participated in a lot of like film festivals when I just graduated from college when I tried to get a job in film industry.
Mhm.
But I don't see that kind of opportunities yet. Probably because it's not so established the whole industry and the communities and infrastructure. So I feel like
Yeah.
there should be a lot of more other ways to support and maybe like
Mhm.
scholarships, like funding, those kind of things.
That's great. So I kind of hear some different things that are all kind of wrapped up together that we might be able to help facilitate. One is simply knowing what are the events. What are things that are going on? Where are they happening? Especially events that are the equivalent in the film industry to film festivals that are great places, yes, to see content and to potentially present your content, but also just to go and to network. And volunteering is a great way to go and to start to make those connections, understand what's going on, to really just learn the language. And I think certainly anybody who's trying to get into immersive, there's a lot of yes, knowing who people are, but also like what's the lingua franca in immersive. Certainly, will say just off the top of my head that Augmented World Expo that primarily happens in Los Angeles, but there's also one that then happens in Europe. That they've got a pretty robust volunteering program that's a part of it. But it sounds like yes, we can kind of like point you to different directions, but if we had something that worked like a resource calendar, a resource library that um, on the top level kind of put this kind of information in one place to be able to see and highlighted or had a way to easily search these kinds of things that are of particular use to people just getting into immersive, in particular, whether it's students or people transitioning professions or that kind of thing. Do you feel like that would be something that you would find useful?
Oh, yes, definitely. I am part of a network, but I think it's more run as like a commercial entity. So, well, I
Mhm.
have to pay the membership and I get to access the network, but still, it would be nice to have a more open channel for this kind of informations. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, along that front too. I mean, something I think we've done either by design or maybe even a little bit serendipitously is in these meetings will Jonathan might share out, hey, I'm applying to this conference. Does anybody want to go in on a panel with me, or is anybody else applying? Should we, if we've got 10 people that are already going to South by Southwest, hey, should we have a little event there? Like these are the kind of things that also come about. But I think the first thing to do is, yeah, get a database of what kind of things people would like to attend, and then we can see if there's IXA allies that are maybe running the event or involved at a higher level, and see if there's opportunity for membership passes or things like that. So yeah, the collective part of it I think is the first step.
And we're adding a lot of this stuff to our regular newsletter that goes out once a month. And so oftentimes when there are calls that are coming up, like we've been talking in the chat about the journal submission call that is out right now for IXA's Immersive Impact Review online magazine. So things like that we'll continue to put in the newsletter. So, if I think probably most folks here are signed up for the newsletter, but in case you're not, do sign up for that either through the IXAlliance website or through the Immersive Impact Review website. But that's another way we can get things out.
Yeah, it's interesting. The using Discord is something that is very fraught with. Some people use Discord, some people don't. Being under the no proscenium is, should we have our own? We're still trying to kind of navigate that, but kind of a real time like stream is some like in WhatsApp or something that's really popular right now, because formalizing like a list or a spreadsheet, things get old and then you've got to put new things in, and getting on demand information. So it's definitely something that we're really thinking through. It's something I definitely would like, because the next question that I want to ask you all is what have you seen that works really well for bringing a group of people like this together to share information or to share ideas? And the one that Jonathan's heard me talk a lot about is machine cinema. And it's a series of WhatsApp groups that are broken down into little parts, like this is like machine cinema in LA, and this is machine cinema for people who are doing programming. This is machine cinema for doing you know looking for festivals. So it's an AI filmmaking group. So I'm just wondering what have you all seen that works, whether it's great websites or great groups that are doing this really well. And yes, Karen, I just saw you show up because how is XR Women doing this?
Elizabeth, I'm sorry. I had to take a phone call and step away, so I don't know what the larger question was. I apologize.
We just volunteered you to be the head of everything that we don't want to do. Is that good?
Oh, okay.
No, no. The question was, we were just asking what is working for groups of people that are this disparate to share information and share knowledge. Just what's working. And I was just
Yeah,
saying, XR Women is working.
yeah. Well, I mean, and we've built that up for over 5.5 years, and through regular events, having events, every week, basically. So well over 250 at this point. We would take quarterly breaks. So weekly events in immersive worlds. We really focus on our LinkedIn channel. We have Slack, which is okay. I don't know. Discord might be a better communications platform. for people to communicate with one another. Um, we have a weekly email newsletter that and I honestly right now I can't remember when we started that, but we have started incorporating little blog posts into that we're posting on our website. So in terms of communicating, those are some of the sorts of things that we do. Um, in Slack, as in Discord, of course, you can have different channels and things that people are interested in. So that kind of helps when, as you said, you're talking about quite a disparate group of people. But I think that some of it is just the persistence and continuing to have opportunities for people to meet one another and to come together over long periods of time. And so I think that's really important. We haven't formed sort of separate groups, but I can see that working, and as we continue to grow too, to have, like little sort of subsections, subgroups might be a good idea.
That's super helpful, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that it was time and persistence is part of the process. Um, yeah, yeah, no, that's really helpful. And does anybody else have anything that they like a group that they admire or place that where they go to regularly or learn from?
Yeah, I posted a link over here in the chat, but there's something called the Full Dome Database. They just updated their website, and I think they did it really, really well because they're kind of trying to encapsulate a lot of different things. So creators, distributors, tech, vendors, and people who run planetariums. But instead, used to be all this disjointed information. If you wanted to find out about festivals, that was this site, and if you wanted to know, where to buy a mobile blow up planetarium, that was this site, and if you wanted to know who was buying full dome films and distributing them, that was this site. But they've redone it all, and their website's really great now. They're continuing to refine it, but you can search people on there. You can find, if you're just looking for festivals to submit to, that's all there. If you want to connect with somebody who does programming, that's there too. Again, it's pretty niche, but I see this group as kind of in a similar way, right? Because I might rely on the folks that are in this group for assistance for a academic question that I might have, but it also might be someone I want to collaborate with creatively, or it might be like, hey, just a resource for some recon. Hey, have you ever submitted to this conference or ever been there? And so all of those things kind of in one spot is really helpful for this subset. And I sort of think of what we're trying to do, at least personally, in a similar way. It's kind of a one-stop shop for all of these different kind of fingers that, based on what day it is, I might need to reach out to or find information on.
Yeah, that's great. And that now, speaking of AI, if you have a halfway decent database or several halfway decent databases, the search front end can just be so valuable and so easy. And so that's probably something that um we should consider doing is, where you just go to the IXAlliance and type in dome, and then you can get all the people that know about dome work or spatial audio. I think that's a great that's something that we can do.
Or even where to learn it, right? Who's teaching this stuff, and where do I have to go if I want to learn about how to do it myself, or if I things like that. So yeah, I think that's right on.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, great stuff. So along those lines, the next question would be, so this is about sort of how you can help shape and how you can, where you naturally might fit in this group of people and what directions you want to take it. And I'd love to hear any thoughts that people have on things they'd like to see, things they'd like to do, things they wish were here, things they are dying to volunteer for, et cetera. Just your thoughts.
I before we left the last one, I put in here also Future Spaces, Blue Cadet and Josh Goldblum about it's a webinar, and he also does Art World about I think it's might be weekly or sometimes he misses some, but phenomenal, phenomenal group. And as part of that, like I'm in a museum meetup group. And even though I tangentially work with museums, I think that's another place where this is the kind of work we're doing fits in, educational, uh, entertainment, all of that. And then the other piece I wanted to throw out, I don't know if I think that Aaron Riley may have reached out to UO about joining the Alliance, but I just wanted to plant a bug that the director she talked to is on her way out, and we have a new director coming in and a new director of our lab also. So just something to think about. I think that UO, I'd be happy to put you in touch with people, but I think that UO, it sounds like what I'm hearing the other schools working on, UO would definitely fit in with this cohort.
Can I mention, are you all familiar with the XR Guild?
Yes.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah,
loan
I work
area.
with XRGO. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Yeah, yeah. A
They're
lot,
awesome. Yeah, I think it's a great example, Karen.
yeah. Right.
And Jason, I'll follow up with you afterwards about UO just to see if is it Danny that's taking over and running things or somebody else?
Actually, Danny, yeah, Danny was there. He's taken over the lab, and now we have Maxwell Foxman is our
Okay.
official, just came on as our official um, uh,
Okay.
director of the
I will
club.
I will also be there at the end of it, so we'll have some more time to chat then.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
awesome. Yes. And
and,
Maxwell's involved with the Meaningful XR also. So.
yeah, that's I was like, I know the name. Nasreen, over to you. I see your hand up.
Thank you. So, since I'm a new member and I'm very happy to be here, I was wondering, I'm still trying to navigate the group and understand what you guys do more in depth. But I was wondering if you have a network for interdisciplinary members. So like people like me, myself, who's coming from the built environment world, or people who are coming from psychology, or like, so I don't know if you have like something of that sort. So I'm on a board of director of an organization on architecture, culture, and spirituality, and we place all our members on the website with their affiliation and how to contact them, so people can see, like for instance, oh, I want to work with a psychologist or a sociologist, and I am doing work on sacred spaces. How can I communicate with these people? So that could be really interesting to find that information.
I think that's a great idea. And I think that as we build our membership, we can just say, do you want to be publicly listed or not? And if you do, then we do that. And that's a great, great suggestion. I love that. And Karen, I'm sure that link does not work. I'm guessing that link does not work. Let me go and get the invite code and see if I can put the invite code in there to the Discord. That was a direct link to what's already there. But yeah, that's really helpful. And there was something else that somebody said. Oh yeah, well, you all know, many of you all know Erin Riley, and she's the chair of the board. She couldn't be here. And then Lindsay Clausen, who is head of communication, is not here. But just to break down what we do and what you all might be interested in. So we so the programming, which is this once a month right now, this is what we're doing, and we're trying to find, if with the best time. What's great, because I don't want to forget about it, next month we are not going to do it on this Monday. We're actually going to do it on a Wednesday at noon, just to try a different time. But we've got Jasmine Good from Agog, and she's going to talk about what it takes to get grants. And I think that is going to be very interesting to many people, no matter what discipline you're in, because money is always important. And but if you would like to present a project, or get in the review, we put the link to the review. But also, if you'd like to present a project or a topic, please reach out to me. If you would like to suggest another topic or another person, please reach out to me. I actually will put a little form up there as well. But yeah, there's let's see, we have 10 more minutes to talk, so I'd love to hear more ideas and thoughts that you all have.
I'm going to circle back a little bit to about how we can uh, communicate kind of between these monthly sessions so that we, take more advantage asynchronously. I think the fact that, we have a little bit of a challenge of just inviting people to the channel inside of NoPro where we exist right now for Discord. Um, just like a show of hands, how many people use Discord slash would, if we had our own Discord server, would that be a place that you would use to communicate between sessions? How many are not on Discord at all, or like just don't find that platform useful? Terry, Nazarene, right? So a little bit of a mixed thing.
But it doesn't matter because I'm not even on social media, so
At all,
and
right?
it
Sure.
really doesn't matter.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think of like, because we're talking about a lot of really great opportunities that could take place via our website, which we're in the process of looking at how we overhaul and what it's useful for. And then the other side of it is how do we better communicate and share asynchronously between these get-togethers. The other part of this, then, to go back to our conversation that we're having about volunteering, is that this advisory board that Elizabeth and Pat and I represent, we're all volunteers, and our bandwidth is a challenge. And so, some of the areas that we know we could really use some help in are specifically around our capacity to have more content out, as in like uh, community managers that could be helping us to facilitate conversations via Discord server, inviting people there, writing blog posts that would be the kind of things that would go in our Discord. And then when we're talking about putting together these different resource libraries and databases that we're getting excited about as we think about what they could be, whether that's about people and being able to find people, being able to find opportunities that we all kind of are saying these could be really valuable and cross over between our, particular areas that we touch immersive. Bringing people together to say, hey, I would help to volunteer to be putting together the database, the back end that then would be the searchable thing. So those are a couple of areas that, we would love if you want to follow up with us if those areas are interesting to you. So I'll offer those as some different areas that we'd love for people to get involved.
Yeah, I think for my part, because I'm already volunteering a lot of time with other nonprofit organizations,
Yeah.
and but I think that there's a lot of value in not just collaboration, but things like maybe we would have at the XR Women Museum, which has a really fantastic exhibition up right now called Vibrancy is Practice. Maybe organize a meetup for people from the IXA there to see that show. It's open 24/7 anyway, but it's that's something that is happening that would be a fun thing to do and a way for people to maybe try to get to know each other.
And also,
Yeah.
I'll second. Oh, go ahead, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
No, Sean, you are new. You came in, so please take the floor. Take the rest of the time.
No. I was just going to say, Jonathan, I agree with you. I got this stuff on LinkedIn, and the problem with LinkedIn is depends on if it hits your cycle. It's like Twitter, like you can miss it. Or in fact, I heard about this actually this morning, and I signed up, and I'm like, oh, that's right, this thing, because there's not that instant connection. Like I think what is missing. Discord allows you to actually have events, and then people sign up for all those events. They get regular updates, and they get reminded, and you can add it. And also, it's instant too, where we could just jump on Discord and actually do these. You don't necessarily have the video per se, but you definitely can have voice meetings and whatnot. So I think it's a good repository. I mean, I use it with RP1 and also with Metaverse Standards Forum. It's a great place to have a repository of things that are more easily accessible. But I'm sure there's other venues, but I think Discord is great.
I love Discord. I think that we need to have our own. I think that being inside of No Proscenium is just too much. We're getting big enough that we need to be big boys and girls and have our own. um, and I love Discord, and the fact that you do, and I know other people don't completely love it, but we maybe we can convince you to love it somehow or another. But
I
it's such a
think we
quick
can also
share
figure out how to get some of that information out and
out.
someplace that's easy for folks who are not on social media too. So I think it's a connected connected conversation. But yeah, okay, this is useful feedback. Thank you
Yeah.
all.
And by the way, Pat, you don't have to love it. It's a necessary evil, I call. It's more of, I don't think anyone loves any of these social platforms just because it's a new thing to learn. But I think if you're looking at one that's more widely used with a lot of things, and it makes it a little bit easier just to make these connections and stuff because they all have their negatives.
Yeah, but you're right, Jonathan. I think that getting it to propagate out, but if you have more people that actually know about what's going on, it propagates better. When you only have like 5 people who know what's going on, it just doesn't propagate that well. So yeah, this is definitely helpful. And y'all, I did put a link to a form, which is where you can follow up with any ideas that you would like to write about. Would be happy to have that there. And yeah, any other ideas or things that you all want to share? Seems like you have, Sean.
I do have a question. Are you trying to get more universities involved and people within the university ecosystem, or what is the audience you're looking for? And I'm sorry, I missed probably the earlier conversation where you might have addressed this already, but I may have some really neat ideas because we're in parallel doing some pretty major things that might be able to bring a lot of this together. So I first want to get that answer, and then I can give you some further thoughts.
Yeah, I can jump on that really quickly. So um, we have a couple of different audiences and we're trying to figure out how to serve them all. I would say the largest audience that we have are folks that are connected inside of the XR research community in academia in one form or another. But as most of us introduced ourselves, we have sort of one foot that's our academic role and one foot that's our industry role. And so that then parlays to the sort of the other end of the spectrum, which are folks that are fully like yourself in industry and often will partner with folks that are over in the academic side, but are running studios or other kinds of setups as XR professionals. I would say the other sort of part of this really is how students fit in, and they're usually underneath the academic bucket. But I would say that their needs and how we're trying to think about how we serve student needs is something that's a little bit adjacent to needs for faculty researchers and that goes. Does that answer your question, Sean?
No, absolutely perfect. And there's a lot
Great.
of ways that I think I can help the group. We're actually, I'm not sure if you guys heard the recent announcement, but RP1 is taking our prototype and putting it under the Metaverse Standards Forum, where it'll be truly the next open standard browser. So the evolution of Chrome. And so no one company will own this. It'll be completely an open standard as far as how the future of the browser work for AR glasses and virtual spaces. And basically, you can own and operate all of your stuff on your own servers within the universities, all this stuff. It's a massive project. We're right now meeting with literally the largest tech companies on the planet. But the reason I bring this up is I'm also meeting with a lot of university heads of new immersive labs. I'm meeting with a lot of teachers, professors reached out because, in my opinion, just like when the web browser was introduced in the beginning of the days, it was actually the universities that actually led a lot of the research, the developments, the standards. Like it was led, and then the students got involved. And so you're talking about a cornucopia of an actual perfect picture of bringing an industry together, especially through the universities and education system. And so I want to try to, if I can link the two, as I'm meeting with all these universities, I can easily say, hey, here's this organization that's doing these great things, but at the same time, we're also trying to build this out. So I'm trying to figure out how I can use that to help you guys, because I think there is one big symbiotic, kind of what you guys are trying to accomplish, and maybe there's some major synergies there. So I figure I'll just share that with you guys and how I can help. That'd be great.
Yeah, Sean, I think there's definitely some overlap. There's no one in this call represented right now, but I think folks in our media studies department would also be interested about just the general impetus to the kind of initiative you guys are taking on, the necessity for a open, economy, ecology of the next generation of an immersive web. So maybe offline, you and I should talk about that as an additional thing. I think they would be really interested from an academic standpoint, kind of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and I'm speaking with that. Thank you very much for that. And I'm more than happy to have those discussions. I'm speaking with the University of Rochester. I'm not sure if you guys were familiar with that. Barry Silverstein actually came over from Meta. He was at Meta for about 9 years. And I wouldn't say retired, but he decided to leave corporate life and he's building out supposedly one of the largest immersive labs. And obviously, being at Meta, he's well versed in all the mistakes Meta has made, what they tried to accomplish. And he was blown away by our project and wants to get involved. And what we're trying to do is actually build a hub where one university or a group of people actually bring all the universities together. And so there could be this tree of where all universities, because it's impossible for a company of our size or a standards group to manage the university side. That should be managed by people that care about this path, but they can bring all of these immersive tooling and all the things that you guys have been talking about the last handful of months that are extremely important for the students, for enterprises to get involved, you name it. And so I'm just trying to see kind of where these things gel without taking away what you guys are doing, right? I'm not trying to sidestep anything. I'm just trying to hopefully either add value or influence, in a good way. But I want to make sure that it doesn't detract from exactly what you're trying to accomplish in this group. So make sure that you help me draw that line because I don't, it's your group and I don't want to, kind of take it in different directions.
No, that's, I mean, we're that's just the way that industry academia partnerships work, is you just have to kind of find the happy medium there. And we're very, very interested in getting as many universities together because just as everybody's talked about, the academia needs industry to find places for our students to go, to understand what problems need to be solved, to figure out what tools to use. We all need to figure out part of our goal was to try to help define what this discipline is in the academic world. So, that is the sort of standards of academia. You all are doing standards of the browser and the immersive world, and we're trying to kind of figure out what the accreditation learning standards are. We all have to work together, but yes, please mention our name. And I think that we did record this mostly because it's an information gathering thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to sort of take everything that we've learned from you all and try to incorporate it. And I did put the link to the form, which I'll put in one more time in case y'all missed it. I really appreciate y'all filling it out. And does anybody have any last words since we did hit 5 now, that you want to say or talk about?
I'll just say, look, if anybody can bring 4 friends, if I can bring 4 friends, you guys can do it. I definitely have the lowest number of friends of all this group. So I promise next time, if you just send out the invite, they will come. So thank you to the other CU folks that came. But I think this is exactly what we were hoping for, right? Like new faces, people, old faces, people who are interested in all different kinds of things. Want to say thanks to Elizabeth for putting this together, and Jonathan for maintaining all of the membership fingers and things like that. So this we have these monthly meetings, but the conversation goes on all month. So we reach out when you have questions or you see something cool or you won't have an introduction or whatever. We're always around.
And congratulations to your children for being calm and quiet over there.
No school today for some reason. I'm not sure what the reason is, but no school. Okay.
Wait until you're an empty nester, Pat. You'll miss all of this. I literally, my daughter just went to freshman as a college, so both of them are in college now, and I miss that. So enjoy it every day of it.
We will. We just ate at the cafeteria, and they're like, "When you're in college, can you go home?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a prison. Like, you don't even have to go to class if you don't want to." They're like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't say that," but
Oh, awesome. Well,
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
thank you all
Elizabeth.
so much for showing up and helping us kind of
Karen,
think
thanks
this
for
through.
coming. We'll follow up
Yeah.
with you. I think that's a great idea to set up a time for IXA folks to come over and see what you've got up with XR Women and just make that connection in general. I love that.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we both XR Women and the Academy of Immersive Arts and Sciences are open to collaborations and partnerships in whatever way that makes sense. So yeah.
Love
And
it.
the XR Women are actually now part of the Metaverse Standards Forum. I'm on the board now, and we were able to get them as a principal member, which is awesome. So it's there's a lot of support across the industry.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great.
Great. That's very
I'm
nice to meet
throwing
you,
out there, if
Cecil.
anyone wants
All
to
right.
follow me on LinkedIn, I'm happy to share any connections I have in the Pacific Northwest. So,
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I'm following up with you, Jason.
all
We'll
right,
talk to you soon.
great. Look forward to it.
Yep.
Take care,
Yep.
all.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye,
See
everybody.
y'all. Bye.
Do you two want to hang out for just 1 second, or
Oh,
is that useful?
I was gonna say
yeah, there we
that
go.
I can hang out for I think a couple minutes. Yeah. Why don't we could
Okay.
probably